Okay, now we're going to go on to the third stanza of The Raven. As usual, I'll read the stanza out loud first. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Okay, so I think one of the most striking things about this paragraph is the use of poetic devices, is the use of language, which creates an incredibly intense mood, and we really using all the senses in order to experience together with the narrator what is happening. So if we start with the silken, sad, uncertain rustling, okay, even you can hear that, right? We've got the repetition of the same sound, which is known as assonance, right? We learned this once, and we've even got internal rhyme as well, uncertain and curtain, right? And then again we've got the same thing, thrilled me, filled me. Okay, so this is an internal rhyme here with fantastic, again with the S sound, fantastic terrors never felt before. It's absolutely fantastic language as well, because it just to be able to craft language in such an amazing way is something that is very, very unusual. So basically we have this purple curtain, purple being a great word, great Gothic colour, right? And the Gothic movement that was influenced by the Romantic movement. And you've got the sound, the rustling sound of the curtain, and what it's doing is increases this feeling of trepidation, of fear, of anticipating that something bad is going to happen. Here, when we use the word fantastic, we use it as in fantasy, okay, not as in amazing. So basically, the imagination of the narrator is going crazy, right? And it's being emphasized by his experience via the senses in his room. Okay, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating. So it's interesting because we have a lot of repetition in the poem. We have repetition of sounds, we have repetition of words, and now even the narrator's repeating, right? I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating." Okay, repeating and entreating are internal rhymes, okay? Entrance. "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door," meaning that there is somebody wanting to come into my room. Okay, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Well, if we think about it, who's knocking on this man's door at midnight? It is all very weird, all very strange. This it is and nothing more. Okay, so he's like trying to calm himself down, as you do when you're absolutely terrified. You just say the same thing to yourself again and again and again. He's saying, "'Tis some visitor entreating, 'tis some visitor entreating." Okay, and I think actually it makes us feel even more nervous. It has the opposite effect. Okay, so let's go to the next verse. "Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. 'Sir,' said I, 'or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more.'" So again, it's getting even more dramatic, and we have this expectation, like what's behind the door, and there's nothing there, which is very interesting. So let's go line by line so you understand what's going on. Presently means then. Okay, when we say presently, it means then. My soul grew stronger means I became bolder, right? I stopped being so nervous. Hesitating then no longer. And then he calls out, "Sir," said I, "or madam." And then he says, "Truly your forgiveness I implore." This is a very fancy, polite way of saying sorry. we're in the 1800s here. People are very polite to each other. So he says, "Sir or madam, sorry, but the fact is I was napping, right? Actually, I was napping," which is interesting. Is he awake or is he asleep? Is this dreaming or not? And so gently you came rapping. You were knocking on the door so gently, so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door. Remember, we've got this rapping, tapping. It's like you can almost hear this knocking in your head through Poe's use of repetition. You hear that bird. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. You hear whatever it is outside tapping on the door. That scarce was sure I heard you, meaning I couldn't. Scarce was sure, meaning I barely heard you. I didn't really hear you properly. And then here I opened wide the door. You write real dramatic stuff. It's the middle of winter. You can hear the wind howling. It's night. It's already, the scene's pretty scary. And you open it up. And it's just like from the horror movies, which, by the way, Edgar Allan Poe influenced the horror genre. We wouldn't have things like Stranger Things and all those other, I don't know, what do you watch nowadays? I don't even know. Is it not the Joker? The Thing. That's it, The Thing, and all those other horror movies that you might have seen. They're all very inspired by Poe. He created this whole genre of darkness and horror and things going wrong and things that go bump in the night. And so he opens the door and there's darkness and nothing, right? Darkness there and nothing. We can't see anything. Doesn't know what's outside. Okay. Next stanza. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, "Lenore." This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, "Lenore." Merely this, and nothing more. So we have this narrator who's looking into the darkness, and he's still kind of caught up in his dreams. He's peering. To peer is to look, and he's there, and he's sort of very nervous, and then doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. Yeah, it's funny, I yell at students for using the same word again and again, but there are certain places where you can use the same word again and again, and all it does is it creates a very vivid image. Okay, so dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. Mortal is a human being. So what are these dreams? What is it that nobody ever dreamed before? What is the extent of the imagination of the narrator? But it's still silent. The silence was unbroken, and the stillness is quietness, right? Gave no token. When we say gave no token, means it didn't hint of anything or anyone, all right? So the quietness didn't reveal anything or anybody. And the only word there spoken was the whispered word Lenore. Again, we've got this Lenore. He's completely obsessed, and this is the only person he can think of who would be outside, the lost Lenore. Okay, so he whispers it, and then there's an echo. The echo murmurs back the word Lenore. Right, this is real horror stuff. Is anybody there? Is anybody there? You've got the voice coming back to you. Merely this and nothing more. Okay, so let's go to the next stanza. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. Surely, said I, surely, that is something at my window lattice. Let me see what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more. Okay, so he goes back into his room, and he still feels very nervous. When you say all my soul within me burning. It means he still felt kind of not settled. And then he hears this tapping again, and this time the tapping is louder. And then he says, surely that is something at my window lattice. Window lattice is, if I draw it like this, it's this type of stuff that goes on your window, right? Imagine you've got your window and you've got the kind of frame and the glass. The glass is inside, so the stuff on the outside is the lattice. But I love the rhyme scheme because he says window lattice, and then what they're at is. Let me see what they're at is. What does he mean, what they're at is? What they're at is means, let me check out what's going on, okay? And this mystery explore. By the way, guys, he was also, Poe was the real boss of the mystery genre as well. Even like all the detective novels and Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie and all the stuff that came after that was very much inspired by Poe. Okay. Let my heart be still a moment and this mystery explore. So now the first emotion he has is loneliness. Yes, loneliness and sadness. Right? Then he starts feeling fear, right? I mean, who could be at my door? Who is that? Right? And now it's more curiosity, right? What is going on? I've got to explore this. Let me see what's in this mystery. But then he tries to reassure himself, 'tis the wind and nothing more. Okay, so you've got this dialogue that he's having with himself as well. You know, oh, it's just a visitor. And now he says, 'tis the wind and nothing more.